You know we all have talents, right? Things we're good at. But have you ever felt that some of your abilities, well, they just run deeper? That they're not just skills you've learned, but something more essential to who you are? Here at The Spiritual Seek, we believe they are. They're what we call spiritual gifts, and in this explainer, we're going to dive into what they are and how you can start to discover your own.
Our work is really grounded in this idea right here. Just imagine for a second that your life is this magnificent giant tapestry. So many different threads make it up. You know, your experiences, your relationships, your job. But a few of those threads just seem to have this special glow. They catch the light in a different way. Those are your spiritual gifts. They're the divine pattern that's woven uniquely into you.
So let's get personal for a moment. What are your brightest threads? What are the things that come so naturally to you that it feels less like something you do and more like something you just are? That's the journey we're going on together today, to help you spot those shining threads in your own life's tapestry. Okay, so what exactly do we mean by a spiritual gift? When you boil it all down, it's the unique way that a divine energy or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, expresses itself through you. And look, this isn't about being perfect or some kind of saint, not at all. It's about being a channel for connecting with people in a real way and for making the kind of contribution that only you can make. So, what's really at the heart of these gifts? Well, it's the idea that they aren't so much skills we go out and acquire, but truths we uncover about ourselves. They're expressions of our deepest, truest self. And the journey really involves discovering them, honing them with some real intention, and then, ultimately, sharing them with the world. Now, to make this journey a little clearer, we've kind of created a map of the self. We've grouped all these gifts into three main territories. First, you've got the gifts of insight. These are all about seeing clearly. Then, there are the gifts of connection, which are about feeling deeply. And finally, the gifts of action, which are about doing things with a real sense of purpose. All right, let's start with insight. These are the gifts that let us see what's really going on beneath the surface of things. It's like having the ability to peek beyond the veil of everyday life and see the deeper truths that are always at play. So let's start with a really important distinction within insight, the difference between knowledge and wisdom. On the one hand, you have knowledge. That's the gift of gathering information, organizing it. It's the what. But then you have wisdom. And that's the gift of applying that knowledge with compassion, with foresight. The classic story of King Solomon is the perfect example. Remember? Two women, both claimed to be the mother of the same child. All the knowledge, all the facts, led to a dead end. But his wisdom, that deep insight into a mother's heart, revealed the truth in an instant. That's a gift of insight in action.
And this quote from Marianne Moore just nails it, doesn't it? Insight takes a big, vague concept like love or justice and makes it incredibly real and personal. It's that spark that turns some general idea into a realization that can literally change your life.
Okay, let's move on to our second territory, the gifts of connection. And you'll see how these build on each other. If insight is about seeing, then connection is all about feeling. It's this sacred art of building bridges from one heart to another. And it's what really creates the fabric of a community. Now, a cornerstone of connection is empathy. And notice that crucial difference. It's about feeling with someone, not just feeling sorry for them. The source material brings up this really powerful example from the story of Jesus at Lazarus' tomb. Even though he knew what the outcome was going to be, he wept. He fully shared in that raw human grief of the moment. It's that kind of deep empathy that creates a space of safety where real healing can actually begin. This famous quote from Maya Angelou just captures the power of these gifts so perfectly. Facts fade, events get blurry over time, but that feeling of being truly seen and understood by someone, that's what lasts. That's the real legacy of the gifts of connection. And finally, we arrive at the gifts of action. This is where insight and connection really become tangible. It's where divine purpose gets expressed through our work, through our service, through our guidance. This is spirit made real, right here in the world. Take the gift of leadership. Now, this isn't about having a fancy title or a corner office. Spiritual leadership is the ability to inspire people to see a better future and to believe in their own power to help create it. Think of an ancient example like Moses. He held this massive spiritual vision, a promised land, but at the same time, he was managing the incredibly practical day-to-day needs of his people. He had to hold both the vision and the action together. And this quote from Lao Tzu just sums up the spirit of this gift perfectly. Real spiritual leadership has nothing to do with ego. It's all about empowerment. The true sign of success is when the community feels its own strength and they look around and say, wow, look what we did.
So, knowing about these gifts is one thing, but the real question is, how do you cultivate them? How do you turn that little spark into a steady flame? Well, that's where the path to growth begins, and it's an active, intentional process.
So how do we do this? Well, our research here at the Spiritual Seek points to a pretty clear path. First, steady exemplars. Learn from people who have walked this path before you. Their stories are like a blueprint. Second, find mentors. Because let's be honest, we all need guidance to see our own blind spots. From there, it's just about practice. These gifts are like muscles. They get stronger the more you intentionally use them. And finally, seek out community. Your gifts are meant to be shared, and they're going to flourish best in a place where they're both needed and celebrated.
At the end of the day, the most crucial thing to take away from all this is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. Discovering and developing your spiritual gifts isn't about adding a new skill to your resume. It's the journey of becoming more fully and authentically yourself. These gifts, they're the signature of your soul.
And that brings us to the final and really the most important question, the one we at the Spiritual Seek hope you carry with you. We've explored the map, we've seen all these different ways the divine expresses itself. So now the question isn't just, what are my gifts, but how will I use them? How are you going to share your unique light with the world?